Yes, sir! Philadelphia 76ers trade rumors. Would the 76ers regret trading Ben Simmons? What's up, guys? We're here to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers James Harden trade rumors. So as you guys know, James Harden has been linked to the Sixers for a while now. He does want to leave the Rockets, and he's been linked to teams like the Sixers and the Nets. Most prominently, lately, he's been linked to the Celtics and the Raptors, but I don't think those trades are realistic. Let's talk about the Ben Simmons for James Harden trade. Honestly, guys, I think the Sixers would regret making this move because Ben Simmons is only 24 years old and he has MVP, Defensive Player of the Year type potential. I'm going to explain why I feel that way. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments. How you guys feel about a James Harden-Ben Simmons trade? Me personally, I like James Harden. I just like Ben Simmons' potential more. Ben Simmons versus James Harden, let's compare both players, all right? So when we get into would the 76ers regret this trade, we have to look at the two main pieces involved in the trade. It's James Harden and Ben Simmons. So with the rumored trade, we obviously know that Matisse Thybulle would likely be included in the trade because the Rockets are looking for other young assets. Me personally, I think if I'm the Sixers, giving up Ben Simmons is more than enough. I don't think that I need to add Matisse Thybulle to the deal. I'm doing you guys a favor by giving you Ben Simmons and taking James Harden off your hands. He's not happy there. Now you're telling me I have to add Matisse Thybulle to the deal? I don't think so. Ben Simmons is a once-in-a-lifetime player. Like, you don't see a lot of players with his size, his passing ability, his pass vision, his defensive ability. Like, he's in an elite club that only LeBron and Magic Johnson are in. When it comes to 24 years old, having a certain amount of points, a certain amount of rebounds, and a certain amount of assists. Only him, Magic Johnson, and LeBron are in that club that have hit those milestones at this young in their career. So Ben Simmons is an elite company. I think that he could be at the level, not of Magic Johnson or LeBron, but just in that conversation of a guy who's 6'10", like an oversized point guard that can pass and defend very well. I think that the Sixers would regret trading Ben Simmons. So as I said, let's compare the two players. You got James Harden, who's 31 years old, is a locker room cancer. You guys see what happens with James Harden. On and off the court, the stars that James Harden plays with, he runs into issues with. He ran into issues with Russ. He ran into issues with Chris Paul. He ran into issues with Dwight Howard. He ran into issues with Tillman Fertitta. He's running into issues with Silas and Raphael Stone. Not so much Silas. It's just that Silas just happens to be a casualty of the fact that James Harden wants out. But he's 31 years old. He's entering the end of his prime. He's not taking care of his body. He's at the club almost every other weekend. He's not a leader. It's just hard for me to understand why you would want to bring James Harden into your locker room. So that's James Harden. He's one of the best scorers we have in the league today. But as I said, he's not taking care of his body. He doesn't have a healthy lifestyle. So who knows how long his prime can really last. When you have, on the other hand, you have a guy like Ben Simmons, who isn't known for having that type of lifestyle. Does he party? I'm sure. We've seen him dating Kardashians and stuff like that. But when it comes to his discipline, his love for the game, and his work ethic, and his locker room impact, I think that he's a much better player because he's not a cancer to the locker room. Him and Joel Embiid don't even fit together on the floor. Have they had tension in the past? Sure. Have they talked down to each other in the past? Sure. But as it stands now, presently, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons off the court are good. There's no tension. On the court, there might be some tension just because the court can get kind of clogged up when Ben Simmons is trying to attack the rim and Joel Embiid is in front of the rim with defenders all around him. It can make it kind of clogged for Ben Simmons to finish and lay up and stuff, which is what he's most effective at doing on offense. And when Joel Embiid's trying to post up, it's hard for him to post up when he's getting double teamed due to the fact that Ben Simmons' defender is sagging off of him to double. So I get that, but it's not about that because off the court, they don't have issues. And I think that on the court, they can work together because we've seen Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid flourish together. We've seen it. We saw that the best team they ever had, some people think it's a Jimmy Butler team. I can agree with that if in terms of playoffs, in terms of actually advancing in the playoffs. But the best regular season team the 76ers have had recently with this Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid thing has been Ben Simmons, JJ Redick, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and Joel Embiid. if you surround Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons with all shooters, you have a great team. That team used to beat teams by 21 points per 100 possessions. That's great, guys. 21 points per 100 possessions when Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were on the floor, when they had that roster. With last year's team, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons on the floor, they would beat teams by about 5 points per 100 possessions. So you could see the difference there. They went from beating teams 21 points to 5 points. So it's not that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons don't work together. It's just that you need to have the right clientele around them. When you have Robert Covington and Dario Saric, two perimeter-oriented forwards, JJ Redick, a perimeter-oriented guard, a sharpshooter, you saw how well it worked. You saw how much space Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons had to work with. Now we're getting back into that similar thing. We have Tobias Harris, a perimeter-oriented forward. We have Danny Green, a perimeter-oriented forward. Seth Curry, a sharpshooter. Now we're getting back to that style of 76ers space around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. I think it can work. I think Ben Simmons at 24 years old, I think he won't even reach his prime for at least another 2 or 3 years. And then once he enters his prime, you're going to have a guy who's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate every single year. If you have a guy that's Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and then you have a guy like Joel Embiid who could also be a Defensive Player of the Year, if he ever took defense that seriously, you're going to have a team that's anchored on defense with their star players, and you surround them with shooting, and the offense will be no problem. That's what I think what the Sixers should do. Just keep developing Ben Simmons, keep developing Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons can't shoot. People sag off him in the playoffs. I get that. But if you surround that team with straight shooters, just put straight shooters around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, you don't need a guy like James Harden. You don't need him. He's a locker room cancer. He's approaching the end of his prime, and he's not taking care of his body. And the funniest part about it is he has about a year or two left on his contract. He'll be about 33 when his contract is up, and he's going to want a max extension. And I don't know about you guys, but if I was a GM, I wouldn't feel confident paying a 33-year-old James Harden max money for 4 years. That's just me. I wouldn't feel comfortable signing a 33-year-old James Harden to a 4-year max contract extension. That's just me. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. That contract would start to look real nasty. It might be okay in his first year playing at 33. That would be the absolute last year of his prime. But once James Harden hits 34 and 35, that contract is just going to look disgusting. Compared to a guy like Ben Simmons, who's only 24, has just signed his max contract last year, I believe. So after this max contract, he'll probably be about 28 when he's ready for his next contract. I feel way better signing a guy like Ben Simmons to a max contract at 28 years old, knowing that he's probably got his defense under control. He's probably got his playmaking under control. He's probably gotten better at initiating offense. He's probably gotten better at learning how to work within his game. He's probably gotten better at shooting. Maybe he's developed a mid-range game, something like that. But I just feel more confident playing with Ben Simmons, developing Ben Simmons, investing in Ben Simmons than I do with James Harden. That's my point of view on it, guys. Let me know how you feel on it. Do you think the 76ers would regret trading Ben Simmons for James Harden? My opinion, I think they would regret it, but I can understand why they might do it. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel. Anyways, make sure you guys have a good day. If you enjoyed this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We do new videos every single week. Right now, my upload schedule is probably like Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. I'm trying to upload every Monday at 11 o'clock, every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, and every Saturday at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So look out for videos around that time. All right, boys. Peace. Have a good day.